There are 37 species of cats, including lions, tigers, cheetah, jaguar, puma, lynx, and so on. But we are here today to talk about Felis Catus, the house or domestic cat. Hi everyone, Mohammed Najmi here, and in this episode, I have for you the story of how cats came to be our pets, or rather, how we became their pets, depending on which way you look at the situation. So let's dig in, shall we? Cats. Felis Catus, also called house cat or domestic cat, domesticated member of the family Felidae, order Carnivora, and the smallest member of that family. Like all felids, domestic cats are characterized by supple low-slung bodies, finely molded heads, long tails that aid in balance, and specialized teeth and claws that adapt them admirably to a life of active hunting. Cats possess other features of their wild relatives in being basically carnivorous, remarkably agile and powerful, and finely coordinated in movement. Our domestic cats are the most recently evolved species within the Felidae family. And as I mentioned before, the Felidae family has 37 species in 18 genera belonging to 3 subfamilies found worldwide except Antarctica, but introduced to Australia. These 3 subfamilies are Pantherinae, and within it you have the felines that roar, like tigers, lions, leopards, and so on. And then you have Feline, which are all other small cats, like our domestic cat. And then you have Acinonicani, which are the cheetahs. Most cats are patterned with spots, stripes, or rosettes, but some, like the puma and lion, are uniform in color. Black or nearly black coats occur in individuals of several species. Apart from lynx, who has a stubby tail, most felines have a long tail that makes up about a third of their total length. And the only cat with a well-developed mane is a male African lion, the king of the jungle. And those who have felt the sting know that cats have sharp claws that are retractable, except in the case of a cheetah. Now, the cats clawing at trees or objects seem to be an innate behavior. Even kittens raised in isolation soon begin to claw objects. It is still debatable as to the purpose of this behavior, whether it is for cleaning or sharpening the claws or simply to stretch. However, since it is such an innate behavior that it doesn't necessarily need to be learned, I lean towards a more practical reason for it, which is sharpening or cleaning the claws. Right, okay, what else? All cats purr when content, the internal motor of satisfaction, or catisfaction. And they snarl, howl, or spit when in conflict with another of their kind. The big cats from genus Panthera, like lions, they roar, growl, or shriek, but usually all cats are silent. The meowing of the domestic cat, which we will get into later, seems to be reserved just for humans. They need some way to communicate their orders, right? The larger cats range over large areas, often roaming alone with a companion. Occasionally, one may become a member of a family group. Only lions are fond of company or sociable. Their prides consist of as many as 30 individuals. Cheetah is the speediest of mammals. I'm pretty sure most of you already knew that. It's capable of speeds up to 100 kilometers per hour or 62 miles per hour. The history of the cat family can be traced through the fossil record 37 million years ago. The cat pattern seems to have established very early in the evolution of mammals, for the early cats were already typical cats at a time when the ancestors of most other modern mammalian species were scarcely recognizable. Cats of the subfamily Feline appeared in western Eurasia about 10 million years ago and have continued almost unchanged into modern times. Genetic studies examining living and fossil pantherines, cats of the subfamily Pantherinae or Panthera, suggests that the Pantherine lineage emerged in Central Asia some 16 million years ago and subsequently spread to other continents. But let's look further, specifically into domestic cats, Felis Catus. I do like saying that word. According to National Geographic, DNA analysis suggests that cats lived for thousands of years alongside humans before they were domesticated. Now that means they took their time studying us before deciding to be with us. And during that time, their genes haven't changed much from those of wild cats, apart from the distinctive stripes and dots of the tabby cat. Researchers surveyed the DNA of more than 200 cats, spanning the last 9,000 years, including ancient Romanian cat remains, Egyptian cat mummies, and modern African wildcat specimens. And yeah, there was such a thing as Egyptian cat mummies. And if you didn't know about it, well, you do know now. Search online. You won't be disappointed. Or will be. I don't know. Depends on how you like your cats, I guess. Anyway, two major cat lineages contributed to the domestic feline, the Felis Catus we know today. The earlier ancestors of today's domestic cats spread from Southwest Asia and into Europe as early as 4400 BCE, before Common Era. The cats likely started hanging around farming communities in the Fertile Crescent about 8,000 years ago, where they settled into a mutually beneficial relationship with humans as a rodent patrol. Mice and rats were attracted to crops and stuff, and you can imagine what they can do to crop storages. And imagine the diseases they could spread in higher numbers when doing so. Even those diseases were not known maybe at that time, but they're still spreadable, aren't they? And this is what one of researchers, Claudio Ottoni, said, that this is probably how the first encounter between humans and cats occurred. It's not that humans took some cats and put them inside cages. Instead, people more or less allowed cats to domesticate themselves, which is kind of in line with the overall cat behavior we see today. And they are more our friends, very needy and demanding friends sometimes, but they are more our friends than pets. And often enough, they do switch owners if you are nice to them and if they can help it. A second lineage, as mentioned in National Geographic, consisting of African cats that dominated Egypt, spread into the Mediterranean and most of the old world beginning from 1500 BCE. This Egyptian cat probably had behaviors that made it attractive to humans, such as sociability and tameness. The study suggests that human populations probably began carrying the cats along ancient land and sea trade routes to control rodents. But overall, cats became domesticated companion of humans without changing much, according to evolutionary geneticist Eva Maria Gagel. They just adapted their behavior, no longer being solitary as wild cats, but instead being tolerant of both humans and other cats. This is in contrast to dogs, the first animals to be domesticated. Dogs were selected to perform specific tasks, which never was the case for cats, and the selection for particular traits is what led to dogs' diversification to many breeds we see today. Never let go of an opportunity to take a dig at dogs seriously when talking about cats. It's a must do. But anyways, cats are amongst the most popular choice of pets in the world today. There was just no need to subject cats to any selection process in the beginning with different task requirements. It was just not necessary to change them. They were perfect the way they were. Of course, we diversified their genetics and species by their looks, whether they can be hypoallergenic or so forth, but not on the basis of the tasks that they do. They all could hunt the same sort of villains that needed to be fended off, and now they can all get high number of social media clicks and likes. So win-win. Now let's dive even further in this story. The ancient Egyptians had a feline deity named Bastet. Now that's the statue that you see with a cat's head. Although it didn't start off as a domestic cat, Bastet was originally a fierce lioness, a warrior goddess of the sun. She was either depicted as a lioness or a woman with the head of a lioness. Bastet first appeared in the 3rd millennium BCE, before Common Era, around 5 or so thousand years ago. But roughly 2000 years later, Bastet began to be depicted as domestic cat or a cat-headed woman. Most probably because the ancient Egyptians were so enthralled with the cat's ability to keep them and their stored crops safe from rodents, snakes, scorpions and other dangerous critters, that they decided to make it into a cat. And these days, I can't imagine most domestic cats to be helping out with any of those things, to be honest. But back in those days, they did their fair share, I guess. Egyptians had a very close relationship with their cats. Causing a cat to die was punishable by death. Additionally, Egyptians mummified their cats and entombed them with their families. They even mummified mice to go along with their beloved cats on their journey to the next world. Isn't that cute? A cat cemetery was found in Beni Hassan, brimming with 300,000 cat mummies. Ancient Romans held a similar, albeit tempered and secularized reverence for cats, which was seen as a symbol of liberty. In Islamic culture, actually, cats are considered the cleanest of pets, and in some accounts it is said that if a cat sits on your praying mat, you are allowed to break your prayer in order not to disturb the cat. India and China had cat fertility goddesses, and the Vikings worshipped Frey, the cat goddess of love and beauty. And like I said, in China, in the Far East, cats were valued for the protection they offered treasured manuscripts from rodents. However, during the middle of the 14th century, in the Middle Ages, for some reason cats became linked with the devil. It was believed that witches could turn into cats and sneak into homes to do harm. How ridiculous. Many were killed in an effort to ward off evil, especially black cats. An action, actually, that scholars think ironically, helped to spread the plague, which was carried by rats. It wasn't caused by rats, but it was carried by rats, and getting rid of the cats increased the population of rats. And well, luckily, that crazy cat killing phase did not last for that long. Now let's look at some other interesting facts about cats. So, did you know that cats who are permitted to wander outdoors are exposed to a variety of hazards, including contagious diseases such as feline acquired immune deficiency syndrome or feline AIDS, FIV. And cats that kill and eat rodents and other small animals can become infected with Toxoplasma gondii, which can be transmitted to humans and cause the disease toxoplasmosis. And if you didn't know about this, you really need to look this up because it is incredibly fascinating. I won't tell you much right now because it's viewer discretion. You can look it up on your own time. Okay, another one. Number 2. Cats spend between 30 to 50% of their day grooming themselves. This serves several purposes. It helps them tone down their scent so they can avoid predators. It cools them down, it promotes blood flow, and it distributes natural oils evenly around their coat. Grooming also serves as a sign of affection between two cats, and also it's thought their saliva contains enzymes that serve as a natural antibiotic for wounds. Number 3. Cats often purr when they are content, but they also purr when they are sick, stressed, hurt, or giving birth. It is not really known why they purr. Not when, we established when, but why this sound. One hypothesis is that the sound frequency of purring between 25 and 150 Hz can improve bone density and promote healing. According to Leslie Lyons at the University of California, because cats have adapted to conserve energy via long periods of rest and sleep, it is possible that purring is a long energy mechanism that stimulates muscles and bones without a lot of energy. Interesting, isn't it? Number 4. Unlike humans, cats cannot detect sweetness, which likely explains why they are not drawn to it at all. Number 5. The Cat Fanciers Association, CFA, yeah, there is such a thing, recognizes 44 breeds of cats. Surprisingly, the longest living cat on record, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, belongs to the late Creme Puff of Austin, Texas, who lived to the ripe old age of 38 years and 3 days. Number 6. A cat's cerebral cortex contains about twice as many neurons as that of dogs. Cats have 300 million neurons, whereas dogs have about only 160 million. Like I said before, gotta take a dig at the dogs. Cats rule. Number 7. Sir Isaac Newton is credited with creating the concept for the pet door that many cats use today to travel outdoors. Number 8. A rich British antique dealer named Ben Bria loved his cat Blackie so much that when he died in 1988, he left most of his estate, totaling nearly $13 million, to the lucky, albeit likely indifferent, feline. The money was split among 3 cat charities, which had been instructed to keep an eye on Ria's beloved companion. To this day, Blackie holds the Guinness World Record for wealthiest cat. Number 9. A group of kittens born to the same cat are called a Kindle. See? So much more than an e-reader. And a group of full-grown cats is called a Clowder. Number 10. And probably the last one, otherwise we will be here forever. Usually, we think it's the other way around, but even if you're not allergic to cats, your cat might be allergic to you. 1 in 200 cats are believed to have asthma, and this number continues to rise among indoor cats as they are more frequently exposed to cigarette smoke, dust, human dandruff, and pollen. Alright, let's go for a few more, right? Number 11. Cats only sweat through their paws and nowhere else on their body. Number 12. Cats have 3 eyelids, and around 70% of cats' life is spent sleeping. I know some humans who can achieve the 70% mark as well. Not me, of course. Number 13. Unlike humans, cats are usually lefties. Studies indicate that their left paw is typically their dominant paw. I knew most of the facts before I started compiling them for this episode, but this was a completely new one. I will need to look more into it, and if someone can confirm it, please let me know. Number 14. Male cats have barbed penises. Disclaimer, I did not check that myself. While painful for the lady cat, they do serve a purpose. The barbs stimulate the vulva, allowing the female to ovulate, and they also keep her from escaping mid-coitus. Cats are usually solitary and they're not really that big of a fan of any sexual encounter. Number 15, and this really is the last one this time. Most cats don't like getting wet because they lose control. At least that's what some experts believe, that cats hate water because it's uncomfortable to have soggy fur, or because it's frightening for a cat to lose control of its buoyancy. but not all hate water. Breeds including the Turkish Van, Maine Coons, and Bengals are said to enjoy taking a dip every now and then. Obviously, that's not universal across those breeds as well. I had a Turkish Van a long time ago called Mr. Whiskers, and he hated the water. Anyways, that's it for the interesting facts. Alright, that's it folks. That's all I have for today. I'm all meowed out. I hope you all enjoyed listening to this fun and hopefully interesting episode about our furry companions. And you know what? I'll say it for the last time. About Felis Catus. It's probably my newest favorite word now. Felis Catus. So, for next time, we will move from happy to somber as we tackle the First World War. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of us already know a lot of the story, so I'll not spend too much time in recapping what happened during that era. But instead, I will try to find some quirky and interesting facts about the First War. I think sometimes it is good to remember what we have endured to appreciate what we have now. Until then, take care, be good, and with an additional message of donate to animal shelters and rescue centers if and when you can with your time or your money. Thank you so much for listening.